boys and girls, my name is Jane and I'm part of the Sunday Club in Hillside Church. So welcome to all the boys and girls I know and welcome to all the boys and girls from St. Patrick's that I haven't met. Today we're going to make our hot cross buns, so I'm very lucky because I get to eat them afterwards. What we're going to do is we're going to get ready all our ingredients, our dry ingredients, our yeast, very important. We measure out our butter. How do we know how much? We check our little list. We measure out our milk as well on the list. And I've got my egg all ready to be beaten. And a nice clean tea towel for wrapping up the dough. And my best baking tray all greased and ready. So we're ready to start. Now, let's put all our dry ingredients into our big bowl. So everything in our bag. Alison has put sugar and flour and spices and salt and fruit in there. Very important, you need to put your yeast in or it won't rise. So we're going to give it a good mix up. That's really important that the yeast is spread all through the dough. Otherwise it won't rise up into a nice bun. So I'm measuring, mixing really, really well there. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my butter, which I melted in my microwave. Look at it going in there. It's all melted from my microwave. And I had to put a little bit of paper towel over the top because my microwave was getting into a big mess. So when I've put in my melted butter, I'm going to take my egg, which I've beaten already, and I'm going to pour it into my milk. Beat them all together. Now my milk is a little bit warm as well, it's lukewarm. I put it in my microwave. So now it's time to put my milk and my eggs into my dry ingredients and in with my melted butter. And let's hope I stir everything around really, really, really well. So here we go. We've mixed up our lovely dough. So let's see how it's looking. All ready to knead it and put it to rise. So I'm going to put lots of flour, take out my dough, there we go, and then this is one of the bits I love doing. So I'm going to knead my flour for this, okay, and I'm going to knead my dough, and everybody has their own method, but this is the way I was taught by my teacher, Mrs. O'Shea, when I was in 5th class in primary school. So I always knead my dough this way, okay, putting my fist into the middle and then I bring the outside in and I knead it as best as I can, okay, a little bit more flour, we're trying to get air into the middle, okay, so I think we're all set to go. While I have a little bit of flour, I'm going to pop a bit on my grease tray because that's the best way for hot cross buns. And then I want to put my dough in my nice clean bowl here. I'm going to make sure I've oiled my clean bowl a little bit. I'm going to pop my dough in. And then what we're going to do is I've wet my tea towel and I'm going to put that on top of the dough. All ready. You can use cling film. I'm trying not to use too much plastic. And it's all ready now for me to put beside my agate where it's lovely and warm. Let's see if you can see my messy kitchen as I go and put it down here where it's nice and warm, and we're going to leave that for at least an hour in the hope that it'll rise really nicely. My dough, oh, isn't that wonderful? Look, it really rose up. I'm going to take it out. Isn't that fantastic? It's twice as big as when we put it in the bowl down by the warm agate. So I'm going to make my buns. I'm going to cut my dough into 12 pieces. Okay. So if I cut it into quarters, that's 4, isn't it? So then I'll take each quarter and I'll make it into another 3, because 3 fours is 12. There we go. So we'll make the first one, nice round one. There it is. Pop it on my tray, well apart. Let's make another one. There we go. They should be all equal size if we can manage it. Now, all my buns are ready, lovely and round, and I want them to rise even more, so I'm going to pop them back down in a warm place for another half an hour. So off we go back down to the aga. Now, let's see, did they rise a bit more? Oh, I think they did. They're definitely bigger. You can do something to them, but you don't have to. You can make them shiny by putting a 1/4 cup of sugar in a bowl and popping in a tablespoon of boiling water, and we can mush it all up. Melt that sugar in the boiling water, and I've got my pastry brush, and if you want to, but you don't have to do this, you can paint on that glaze and it'll make you nice and shiny, okay? So I'm going to do that. I'll just do one to show you. So I'll put that glaze over the top. I think I'll do another one while I'm at it. And that should make it lovely and shiny when it comes out of the oven. Now, we come to the exciting bit. Why are they called hot cross buns? And why do we eat them at Easter? They're hot cross buns because they have a cross on the top. So this is the tricky bit. We're going to make our crosses. So I've got 3/4 cup of flour in my bowl, and I've added 4 or 5 spoons of water, and I beat it round into a paste. And I'm going to take that bag that Alison had the dry ingredients in, and I'm going to make a teeny weeny hole in the corner, and I'm going to stick my flour and water paste into the bag, down in the corner where I've made my teeny weeny little tiny hole. And now it's like a piping bag. Some of you might have an icing piping bag at home, but this is the easy way if you don't. So let's see, can we make a cross across the top? Yeah, it's working. So that's one part done, and then we'll come across from the other side, and we keep on going. We see how it goes. Yeah, and I see I have a teeny little gap there, so I'm going to put another tiny bit in. We're going to have great fun doing this bit. Let's see how it looks. Whoa, it's not easy, is it? There we go. Whoops. Now, bet you'll do a better job than I did. We try another one? Try this little one here. See how it goes. Very good. Here we have. Beautiful. And here we go again. Very nice. I need an extra little bit here. And let's see. Yeah, it's definitely crosses. Can you see that? Let's see how it is when it bakes. Now I'm all excited. They're all ready. I'm going to open up my oven. Do you want to have a look? I think the crosses turned out quite well. I'd love to see photos of yours after Easter to see if they turned out better than mine. So in they go. 190 to 200 degrees for 15 minutes. So we close it up, put our timer on, and hopefully we'll be eating them very soon. Now it's time for me to tell you a story while we wait for our delicious buns to come out of the oven. When I was a little girl, we never saw strawberries except in June and July when they grew in Irish gardens. And when I was a little girl, we never saw cream eggs after Christmas or at St. Patrick's Day. They didn't come until Easter week. And the same way, when I was a little girl, the bakers never made hot cross buns until Easter time, because hot cross buns have a cross on the top, and the bakers specially put the cross there so that people would remember that Jesus died on the cross. So let's talk about that cross and why that cross is on the top of the hot cross bun. Well, you know that before Jesus was put to death, the Roman soldiers were really, really cruel to him. They wrapped a purple robe around him like a king would wear, and they put a crown on his head. Now, it wasn't the sort of crown you associate with a king. It was a very cruel crown made of cruel thorns. And they shouted at him, and they spat at him, and they shouted, "King of the Jews!" And they gave him a huge, heavy cross, huge wooden heavy cross. And they told him that he had to carry it right up to the hill of Calvary, where they were going to plant it and that they were going to hang him on it and kill him. Jesus was so weak from being treated so badly that a man who was passing by had to come and help him to carry that cross. And when they got there, the soldiers nailed sharp nails through his hands and feet to keep him up on that cross. And they mocked him again, and they shouted at him, "If you really think you're the Son of God, then rescue yourself. Come down from that cross." Now, you guys know from all the Bible stories that you've heard, you know that Jesus is really powerful. And you know that with a word, Jesus was able to calm the storm. You know Jesus was able to raise that sick girl who had died from the dead. You know that he was able to take 5 loaves and 2 fishes and turn them into dinner for 5,000 people. So you know that with one word, Jesus could have come down from that cross. But Jesus chose not to. It wasn't those nails that kept Jesus on that cross. It wasn't the nails, it wasn't the soldiers, it was love that kept him on that cross. He didn't have to die, but he chose to die out of love. Well, there was Jesus hanging cruelly on the cross. And suddenly he shouted, "Daddy, Daddy, don't leave me." And for the first time and the last time, God didn't listen. He turned away from his boy. And even though it was the middle of the day, when the sun was shining brightly, the whole sky went pitch black dark, and the earth trembled and quaked, and some of the rocks split open, and it seemed like the whole world would break and end. This was the only way that God could destroy sin and not destroy all his children whose hearts were full of bad thoughts and sins. All God's anger was coming down on his son Jesus instead of on his children. And then Jesus shouted out in a loud voice, "It is finished." Jesus had done it. It was finished. Jesus had rescued the whole world. And he said, "Father, I give you my life," in a loud voice, and he took a big breath, and then he let himself die. And after that, Jesus' friends came and they gently took him down from the cross, and they brought him to a tomb, and they put his dead body there. And you know what the Roman soldiers said? They said, "Ha ha, that's the end of Jesus. That's the end of him." But to be perfectly sure, they got a great big stone and they rolled it in to the entrance of the tomb so nobody could get in and nobody could get out. Well, so here I am. All the buns are out of the oven and they've turned out really well. They've got crosses to remind us of the cross of Christ. And I have got together my favourite mug and my favourite napkin for Easter, and I'm going to eat one now and see what it's like. Oh, smells lovely. Let's see. Does it taste good as well? Excellent. Happy Easter.